Welcome back all. So let's go ahead and continue. I spoke a little bit about the date class from before, and here it is. I pretty much just copy pasted it back in here. If you don't have it, I'll put it under the lecture so you will be able to download it. However, it is somewhat modified. There aren't any significant modifications, but there are some. The first thing that you will notice that is modified, this is pretty much all the same. Oops, this up here is pretty much all the same, but the constructor down below has been changed. So, we have this constructor which takes arguments. So it takes 3 arguments here, and then it calls the setDate method to basically set the date. Now it takes 1 integer for a day, 1 integer for a month, and 1 integer for a year. Then it calls the setDate method, this for the pointer, this for the current instance of the class. I do believe that I've explained that before, and the setDate then takes 3 arguments. So basically, the constructor date takes 3 arguments, passes them to the setDate method, and then the setDate method calls 3 other methods to set the day, month, and the year, which we have defined all of them down below. Those are the 3 setter functions that we have. Anyway, more or less, this is all the same down below. I'm scrolling slowly through it. I do believe it's the same. If there are any differences, feel free to check them out, but I don't think that there are. And aside from that, you can just take the code from the lecture from down below. Anyway, the dummy class, I have minimized it. So just press the minus sign. Keep it there. We're going to need it, but we're not going to use it in this particular lecture. We can scroll down into the main, and now you have date and then dt1, and I have passed some attributes here, and then you have date dt2, and oh wow, what is this? So this is something else. Before we go into any of that, let me just show you that it cannot, well, let's comment this one out, and let's do this. Let me just show you what you cannot do here. Oops. Date, and if I type in dt like this, semicolon at the end, this will not work. Let me just show you. It won't even compile. As you can see, there is an error. So why doesn't this work as opposed to before? Well, because we have a constructor that takes arguments. We don't have a constructor that takes no arguments. If we added a constructor that takes no arguments here, then we would certainly be within our rights to do so. To do the call without any arguments passed. So if I did this, there is nothing in the body here. Absolutely nothing. I could have written the body like this, but since it's completely empty, it doesn't matter at all. So now the constructor is empty, and now this will actually work. See, it works without any problems. But that is not today's subject. I just want to show you that it won't work, so I will delete this and go back down to the main. So I'll just remove this so that our program would be able to compile. Now, there are special types of constructors, which is basically a copy of the constructor. It's what you see on the screen here, basically, this second line in the main. So I've passed in some values for this constructor, and then down below I have passed dt1 basically I've passed dt1 as it is to dt2. So even though it does take 3 arguments, if I just pass this one to this, if I just pass this one to this one, that will be fine. So it's basically just a copy and nothing else. And if I run, build and compile, it's build and run, it's 1st January 2014, okay? But if I would like to print the second one as well, so dt1 prints, okay, fine, that's 1st 2014, but here it's dt2, and it's going to have exactly the same values. So you see, 1st of January, 1st of January. If you're wondering why it's printing 1st of January, there is the print nice method above, which I have explained before, which you can take a look at. It's right here. So it's calling the get month name method, which again is here, and it gets the name of the month. I have explained all of that in the previous chapters. But if you've skipped a few of them, that's why it's printing 1st of January and not the 1st of the 1st of 2014. Anyway, that would be it. Just a introduction of these 3 different things. And we're gonna go ahead and jump into the next tutorial where I'll talk about destructors.